Hello everyone and welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast, the wrestling podcast where we review every segment of Raw and give you guys the wrestling news of the week. Somewhere deep in the future, they will find ruins of audio logs of this podcast and the host's name will say Turbo Tony, because that is my name. And I do have a partner in crime and he is... His name is Matzo Amore. He's a certified G and a bona fide stud, and you can't teach that.
Oh no!
You approve, I imagine.
Of course, I approve.
Of course.
Love Enzo.
So, how are you doing this week?
Very good. If I can make a further quote, "Bada boom, realest guy in the room."
Yeah, of course. Take it as far as you want it. You know, I gave you the ball. Run with it. You know.
That's it.
So, interesting show that we got for you, you guys this week. I just want to say a big thanks to everyone that supported the show there on out. This is the first time I think me and Matt have recorded this show on our usual time period of the week that we usually do it. We've done it on different days, different countries, everything in the last couple of months. So, it's been pretty bonkers. So, hopefully we can give you the same audio goodness as we always strive to do. And we want to... welcome the new subscribers. We've got a small influx of new subscribers coming in, which we always get. Fantastic. Welcome along for the ride. If you want to follow us, Matt, what is the Twitter handle?
The Twitter would be Talk Wrestle Pod.
Oh, yes. And you can find out exactly what 50 Shades of Grey means.
I saw that picture. I loved it too much.
Yeah, I wonder how many of our fans' girlfriends have taken them to go see that gigantic piece of shit. But it's a form of wrestling, I guess, in the bedroom, you know? Submission match, maybe?
I saw the best thing. It was like a Tumblr thread, and it was just like, and he was laid on his back, and then it's like with his shoulders pinned, and it's like, and then I rolled over his legs for a 1, 2, 3 heavyweight champion. I was like,
exactly.
Love it.
I like it. We need to book a match between Christian Grey and Brock Lesnar. Let's do this. Let's get it done. See how much the guy likes being dominated then.
You like to dominate, really.
Let's get the Beast Incarnate in to show him really how far, you know, domination goes. That's it. Domination. What a strange way we've started off this episode of the podcast, but still. I will tell you guys what we got there for you this week. A packed show. I have over 5 pages worth of notes. It got bigger and bigger as the week progressed, and there's stuff we're going to actually have to cut out of this week's show and maybe put on to next week. We did promise that there would be a WWE Network review. If this runs on too long, which I'm pretty sure it will be next week, not this week. So you'll know, regardless of the title, whether it's actually on this show or not. We can't say.
We've had plenty of time.
Of course, yeah. Well, we've got our news that we've got for you this week. Some interesting tidbits of information this week. We also got our fan feedback. Plenty of questions again from you guys. We love getting questions. Again, if you do want to send them to us, the comments or the Twitter handle is the best place to do so. We have our fail of the week making its return this week. Also, our NXT review, and we have our Raw review. And if we have time at the end, the network review as well. But we'll see as that goes on.
Yeah.
So a big pack show for you guys this week. We'll have plenty of wrestling chat for you. That's what you've come here. We will satisfy your need for wrestling opinions. Don't you worry. Shall we get on with the news, Matt? We've got a big pack show. Let's go ahead.
Let's get rolling on.
And what a doozy this first news story is. CM Punk and Colt Cabana will be served papers very soon, as they are being sued by Dr. Amen of WWE. You may remember that name as the doctor that CM Punk slammed heavily in the podcast when he was interviewed, you know, in quotations by Colt Cabana. So the saga continues, shall we say, in regards to this. Now, the fan response, in terms of fans of Punk and just wrestling in general, seem to think this is bogus. That this is all going to get dealt with. CM Punk is completely correct, and all this stuff is going to go. My response to this is, I don't have a PhD. That's my response.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit funny, and I don't blast anyone for having their opinion. You can have your opinion. But I think it's a bit funny how many fans of wrestling suddenly grew a PhD overnight when this was aired. And
suddenly just like, oh, I read it up on Wikipedia. I know what a staph infection is.
Yeah. Even if people have had staph infections before, not everything is the same. And it's regardless anyway. My thoughts with this at this point, I don't know if you're at the same part of this, Matt, right, as me. I'm a little bit sick of talking about CM Punk at this point.
Yeah.
Because it gets uglier, and let's face it, we said before when we talked about CM Punk, me and Matt, me and yourself, were not there. We don't have a PhD in practicing medicine. We weren't there when all the interactions between CM Punk and any WWE hierarchy was made. We don't know for sure what happened, and we can't take either person's part. You know, that's the whole thing of it, right? I'm not gonna say for sure, oh, this definitely happened, and therefore this is going to happen. We can't do that because we don't know, and no one knows.
All we've got to do is just sort of piece what we find together.
Yes, exactly. So there's one thing I will say about this, and I'm looking at it from Dr. Amon's view here, because what we like to do is that when the large majority of fans are looking at one side, we like to at least look at the other. Well, regardless whether it's right or not, we never say, oh, just because all these fans are going with CM Punk and he's totally correct, we're not going to go with him. No, we don't look at it that way. We just like looking at the other side and seeing, from their point of view, what happened, right? I think people need to look at the fact that I think Dr. Amon has way more to lose by making this court case than Punk does if he loses the court case.
Yeah.
And hear me out. People might be saying, well, he might lose millions. Well, the guy's set to make a fucking ton in UFC regardless of this court case, right? And this has nothing to do with the prior court case that Punk had with WWE. That was about his royalties. That had nothing to do with this, okay? Yeah. This is a defamation of character court case, right?
Yep.
So, if Dr. Amon loses, right, the court case, and Punk countersues and wins, there is a strong argument that Amon will have his medical license revoked. Now, I don't know exactly how this will work. You know, there may not be that as cut and dry, but let's face it, that will be hugely damaging towards his career, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's not as if Punk countersues for Amon neglecting medical attention to him, and for some reason he keeps his medical license, WWE in their right mind can't keep that guy on the books, because by law, he doesn't do his job properly, right?
Yeah.
So, with that in mind, that he's got way more to lose in the court, by him suing Punk, he has more to lose than Punk does, right? He and the WWE must be fucking sure that they've got a strong case before making this.
No shadow of a doubt.
Yes. You have to look at it from the other point of view. They must be, in their heads, they may be wrong, I'm not saying for sure, but they think they've got him. They think they've got Punk with this, right? And they've done all this stuff. They posted a video taking it out of the courtroom and onto their website, which I think was a stupid move, but the fact is, they think they've got it. They think they've got this guy in the bag.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether.
The one thing I quite like, it's a stupid move, but it's kind of just like, it's almost like a means to sort of get the crowd back on side. It's like, well, you tell us, where's this golf ball size swelling?
Yeah. If I were honest, a lot of people weren't really talking about Punk versus WWE for the last week or so, a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and now they've brought it back up.
Yeah, that's the thing now, and it brings up around. I firmly believe that that Amon wouldn't have made this lawsuit without at least talking to the hierarchy in WWE first. And it's quite funny.
Well, he must have had a word with like WWE legal.
Oh,
like, there's no way without it.
Oh, obviously, because the fact is that their lawyers are the ones I think pursuing it. So
yeah,
that may be the case. So people can have their opinion. Unless you have a PhD and CM Punk's medical records, that opinion cannot be factually justified, and even our opinion can't be. So that's the reason why as I said, we're not
Saying
brave to
nothing.
talk about it. It's dodgy, and one thing, it is a little bit interesting to see how this pans out, because everyone's going, oh, this person will win, this person will win. I just look at the point of the fact, because the court case has been made, WWE and Eamon, they honestly must think that they've got at very least a 90% chance of winning this.
Oh yeah.
Because if they lose, and Punk probably will countersue if this gets too far, right? By neglectful malpractice, and if he can prove that, in both cases might get thrown out of court, but if he can prove that, then Eamon loses everything.
Yeah.
Everything, right there. So that's the big thing of it. So if you really want to put a gun to my head, I'm still not going to give you an answer because I don't know. That's my answer to it. I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't have a PhD in practice medicine.
That's it.
I don't know. I just don't know. So that's the bottom line of it. Let's move on. Cesaro's Twitter was hacked. WWE are having a really harsh time with their Twitter handles recently.
Yeah. It's like, is it Twitter? Yeah. Careful.
Yeah. Well, obviously this wasn't nearly as bad as the Seth Rollins stuff last week.
Oh, yeah.
You could say that was a harder situation to deal with.
That's it.
So I'm soiling my reputation every time I make one of those bad puns, really. But sorry, it's just in me. I have to get these puns out there.
Credibility just gone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You referenced this on the Twitter handle. I did see.
Yeah.
So essentially, the guy, and I looked at the tweets. His Twitter was hacked by what seems like a backer of his, a fan of his, and stated a lot of stuff in terms of the hashtag push Cesaro movement, and we want Cesaro to be huge, and we're very upset with the way that management's been dealing with him, and a lot of this other stuff. Here's my bombshell with that, and Matt, I'm pretty much sure you can see this coming, because I essentially know that you're thinking exactly the same thing, that these tweets will probably damage Cesaro's chances, if anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Well, it's just that difficulty, which is just, sorry. I can't really go to explain it. Because in one situation, it should sort of be sort of painting Rollins with the same brush. It's like, if they allowed his Twitter details to be accessed, then surely Rollins should be scrutinized as well.
Yeah, I don't think Cesaro himself will actually take too much from this. I think that because all this stuff's going on. But the reason why I say is that it will likely damage him is because Vince McMahon is an extremely stubborn man, and he will not change his idea on what Cesaro and how far Cesaro can go. And I firmly believe Cesaro will never get further than where he is right now, which is sad. Me and Matt are huge fans.
That's it.
But he got the award for worst booked wrestler of the year last year because he was booked horribly, even though he had arguably the best first 3 months of his career in that last year. But
yeah, and then it just tanked.
Yeah, seriously, I've never seen such a hot commodity get literally pissed on as much as that before.
Reigns' last Royal Rumble.
Yeah, but I mean that was by the fans. I mean Cesaro, it was by management. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, let's face it. Like Reigns is gonna be main event. You know, no matter what the fans want to do about it. But Cesaro, Vince McMahon's got his idea. If the one thing you could take away from his podcast with Austin, he's got an idea that Cesaro can't be mainstream, can't be main event, and he won't change that idea of him. It took like legions of fans shouting yes for months for him to finally decide, okay, you know what, we'll put him in the main event of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
You know, Daniel Bryan. I don't see Cesaro getting that same backing, and I don't even think if he would, that would work anymore. Because I think Vince is going to be like, fuck this, I'm going to do whatever I like. So that's why he's doing what he wants. So yeah, it's a little bit ironic that this didn't help Cesaro, but it's quite likely that it'll, even if in a minor way, damage his chances. But just ironic there. Someone was obviously doing this with good intentions and didn't possibly, just didn't think it through. I think it's probably the best way, but still.
Yeah.
The news source running around today from I wouldn't normally bring this up because unless it's substantial and we know exactly for sure, but very strong sources, and I do reiterate, strong sources are stating that Kevin Nash will be revealed as the next inductee to the Hall of Fame this year. It's quite a stark turnaround from a couple of months ago when he had all the legal troubles with his son. Having like a punch up in his house and then him being arrested. It doesn't even look like he was going to be on the Raw reunion, let alone the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. So a big turnaround considering the doubts that there were.
Yeah. Now the question is, do we believe that Kevin Nash deserves a Hall of Fame induction? Absolutely.
Yeah.
We said that. I think we answered that question before once. I think someone asked us on the fan feedback.
Yeah, I mean, quite possibly. Even if he didn't go in on his own, he'd definitely have to go in with the NWO.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So
yeah.
Either way, he's got to weigh in.
Yeah, his career, arguably, he won. And this is still arguably, but he won world titles that Razor Ramon or Scott Hall didn't.
Yeah.
And Scott Hall got inducted last year, so it was just natural that he was going to get inducted sometime soon after getting back on good terms with the company. And you can't argue. We'll go through it again. You can't argue with it, regardless of whether you like him or not. And a lot of people don't. A lot of fans don't like him. A lot of wrestlers now don't like him, right?
Kevin Nash, OMG! I thought he was dead.
Yeah, all that. But the fact of the matter is that he was hugely influential to probably the biggest boom in wrestling of all time.
That's it.
You don't do that and not get some recognition, at very least, for that. So
yeah, I mean, having recently watched the Triple H documentary as well, it's sort of like Nash was sort of one of the people that Triple H sort of listened to a lot when it came to sort of learning the business.
Yeah.
So even then, it's just the fact that it's just like being an influence on Triple H, who is a Hall of Fame guy.
Yeah. And it's funny that a lot of people bring up, a lot of lesser educated fans, that need to go back and do their research before they make outlandish remarks. A lot of people say to him, well, why is he getting inducted to the WWE Hall of Fame? Because he did so much to try and destroy them. We actually go back and watch interviews with both Vince McMahon and Kevin Nash. Neither of them wanted him to go to WCW. Nash didn't want to go. He said that he was very reluctant in going. But Vince pretty much said to him, look, if they can pay more money, I would go. That's exactly, literally, that was his words, So that's how things ended up.
I can't, if you want to leave for more money, which I think you're worth, go.
Yeah. He's a shrewd businessman, and that's the way it is. I mean, Nash at that time became a star, and Vince was struggling to pay people. At that time, it was very hard for the company, and maybe that was the case. So yeah, I think he's well worth an induction, and I think he will get inducted as part of the NWO as well, as he should. And looking back at Triple H's statement that DX was more influential at a longer period, doesn't matter. NWO changed the course of pro wrestling.
Yeah,
DX didn't. That's how influential.
NWO sort of started the Monday Night Wars. Really.
Oh, outright, yeah. They didn't just start the Monday Night Wars. They delivered the first sucker punch to WWE, and they literally knocked WWE on their ass with the whole storyline. You can go back and watch it. Hall and Nash will make an appearance in our Fan of the Week. So there we go. That links into that in a little bit later. However, let's get into our fan feedback. We've got a few fan questions. Good fan questions this week. Do enjoy answering the questions from the fans. Manricky Tobacco 1, who keeps asking us loads of brilliant questions, ask us whether we would consider going to a WrestleMania event in the near future, to actually attending one live.
Yeah.
I'll let you answer first, Matt.
Yes.
Or in the near future, so you think...
In the near future? Oh, it's
next 5 years.
Future. Next 5? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah? So by WrestleMania 36, you think you have a decent chance?
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, I may be currently planning for next year.
Ooh, that's news right there. That's news. I did not know that. Is that the one that's going to be in Dallas? I'm pretty sure it's Dallas.
It's not in Dallas, but yeah, Texas.
Yeah, Texas. Yeah, sorry. Myself, I don't know. It's a lot of cash. The fact is that I think I'm sort of resigned a little bit to the fact that If I were to go, it would probably be my kids will be a little bit older enough that they can go and enjoy it with me, which isn't that far away, realistically, for my eldest.
Yeah.
But I would say that would probably be past the 5 year point. I don't know. I would like to go. It's just a matter of I'm one of those things, and Matt knows this as well, that whenever I want to go to an event, I don't just want to go to WrestleMania. I want to have all the money so I can do fucking everything over that weekend. I want to make the most of it, sort of thing. And getting the amount of cash and everything up together to go do that, and the time.
That's it. Well, it's like the perks is the fact that they do the full package deals, which covers everything, like all the way to Hall of Fame and things like that.
Yeah, it's got like the Access Hall of Fame, all the stuff, which is exactly what I'd want to do. I wouldn't be getting ringside seats because I'm not made of money. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
But in terms of attending events, me and Matt will be attending the Live Raw in April in England.
That's it.
At the O2, London. So if any of you guys are there or have got very keen eyes, who knows? You might see us in the crowd. We're gonna have T-shirts. So
that's it.
There you go. You might be able to see a picture of us there. That might be the first time that they get to see our faces. Oh, that's gonna be interesting.
It'll just be a selfie of us, isn't it?
Oh dear. You know, I actually saw someone with a selfie stick the other day.
Oh, I hate those.
Yeah. Oh well,
the wand of masochism.
That's brilliant. I like that. That's good. No one's going to get a selfie stick better than Tyler Breeze on NXT, so that war has already been finished.
That's a fabulous selfie stick.
Yeah, I'll let him get away with it because he makes that shit work. So
yeah,
Kane
is allowed.
Yeah. Kane St. Dennis asks us what is our favourite title design. His is the undisputed title and the big gold belt, the WCW Championship or the World Heavyweight.
Oh,
I mean mine straight off. From
I'm gonna guess yours.
Go on.
Smoking Skull.
That's my second.
Oh,
I did note that in my notes, so very good.
Because that is my second, to be fair. Mine's Big Gold, then Smoking Skull.
Oh, so you like the Big Gold first?
Big Gold, yeah.
Do you like the... I think the WCW version was bigger than the other one. I'm not quite sure, but...
Yeah.
Yeah. The biggest version of the Big Gold belt.
Yeah.
Mine is the Winged Eagle belt, the first one, not the second one that had the full circular gold design. You can see a lot of pictures of The Rock. That's when The Rock had that a lot. I think it's the belt that was in activity when Austin won his first world title, at WrestleMania 14.
I remember.
It's got the wings protruding out the top of it. I love that belt. I love that belt.
I know the one.
I think it's very nice. And I know a lot of people don't, but for some reason that sticks out to me. I just love the design of it, personally. But
yeah.
In terms of Kane,
and then we both admit that we're just massive Austin marks. And just like, yeah, Smoking Skull.
I love the Smoking Skull, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
The other one I would say that I thought was very pretty for its time is, like I said, Kane's suggestion here, the undisputed title. I did think that was a very pretty belt. I did like that one.
I really like the current, the original, whichever way you want to think about it, the IC belt.
Oh, what, with the white strap?
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I do like it. I like I think there's a lot better than that.
Don't go for the bigger belts.
You know what? What's a bit weird though? I do actually have a liking for the the IC belt that was done afterwards with the sort of the the oval shaped thing on it.
Yeah.
I do like it. I understand why they changed it, and I do prefer the other one, but I do like the other one.
Yeah, the one that I'm really confused because they've blurred it.
They blurred it?
I'm watching SummerSlam 02 when Benoit held it and they've blurred the IC belt.
Oh, that's weird. I don't even know why. I know they blur. They don't even blur all the WWF stuff. Found stuff where they were WWF.
They don't blur. No, they don't blur any of that stuff.
Yeah, it's weird.
But the IC belt's blurred.
I have to laugh out. Someone give us.
He walks out with it with just a blur around his waist.
Someone find that out for us.
You'd expect the whole guy to be blurred or something.
Yeah. Now, someone find out for us, because that's very odd. I don't think there's anything on that would be trademarked, surely. I don't know.
Well, you were the one that says, oh, Matt, let's watch SummerSlam 02. It's like, and what am I doing? And what are you not doing?
I will get through it one day. I love that event. God damn it, I love it. So, you told me to go watch Paul Heyman's documentary. I went and watched that, and it's fucking amazing, but still.
I was right.
Yeah. Moving on, Bazooka Majin asks us what match type should come back for just one time, maybe with a pay-per-view named after it, and who takes place in it. I would like to have a Buried Alive match between Adam Rose and Brock Lesnar.
Just to get rid of Adam Rose.
Yeah. I wouldn't even mind if it doesn't last very long. Just to bury him alive. Done. Throw the bunny in there as well. Leave all the female rosebuds though, because they're pretty hot. But the bunny and Adam Rose, you can just let Brock Lesnar do his thing.
Yeah, just kill him off.
Dominates 50 Shades of Grey style. That's the way he does it. Joking aside, I can't really give an answer to this because I personally just like the current matches, big matches, Hell in a Cell, TLC, that sort of stuff, to be used at the right times, because forcing them at like events just because that's the time of year, I hate that. So I think you've got to fix that before you think about adding anything else as other themed pay-per-views and stuff. They have too many as it is, in my opinion.
I did enjoy the Night of Champions originally when they had the Championship Scramble matches. They were really chaotic and kind of difficult, and I'd hate to have worked one.
Yeah,
but
I think that was one of the main issues. I didn't think it was much of a draw for all the amount of work put into it.
Mm.
And it was too easy to. It was too easy to fuck up.
Concept.
Yeah. But just too complex. And I think Vince and management probably looked at it, and I think a lot of fans probably would agree that it was sometimes at times hard to grasp what the fuck was going on, because it was sometimes it was too chaotic to a sense. But there is that.
Especially the way they were just like, and the current, like, what?
Hey, another one that they should bring back: a Viagra on a pole match. Yes, that actually exists.
Bottle of Geritol on a pole.
Running around with their walkers. You know what's funny about that? We're making reference to a promo done by Steve Austin back when he was fired by WCW. It's the ECW promo.
Yep.
And it's fucking hilarious. You try finding it; it's very hard to find that promo, but it's so good. He blasted Bischoff so well in that. Moving on from that. Last question of this week. Oh, sorry. Didn't ask you. What would you like back? Oh, you kind of said the Scramble, didn't you?
Well, no. I just love the Chamber.
The Chamber back, yeah?
Yeah.
I do like the Chamber. It's just
the fact it's like Fastlane's I'm not caring at all for Fastlane, which is another thing for today. Predictions.
I do have predictions. Yeah, I forgot about that. Predictions. The shop is that packed this week.
Yeah, but it's just like I'm not looking forward to Fastlane. I probably would if there was a Chamber match.
Yeah, but there isn't. I think that's one of the main issues with Fastlane, though. That it's got no title match, doesn't have Brock Lesnar. They basically look like they're just trying to stop off time, and a lot of their matches will have fuck finishes because they're going to do them again at Mania. Oh well. What we can do?
We'll see.
So Thomas Miller asks us whether we think WWE regret giving Brock the win over Taker. So whether we think WWE, we regret that happening, but whether WWE regret it now over giving Brock the streak. My answer to this is I don't think they certainly don't regret it at the moment. Lesnar's done huge pay-per-view business for them. A lot of money drawing him, for types of SummerSlam, the events he's been in have all done well. Not in terms of like pay-per-view draws, but he's been a main because obviously with the network coming out, but he's been a big attraction. People want to see Brock Lesnar, and even more so.
It makes it quite easy to sell the guy as well.
Yeah.
Considering it's like, oh, he's trying to overcome him, but it's like, yep. But let's not forget what he did.
Yeah, it's a breath of fresh air for him because he came off of what I think was a really boring rivalry with Triple H that took over a year really to sort out. It was really boring. He had one great match with Punk, but there was at that point, because of that whole thing, he lost the rivalry with Triple H. A lot of people don't remember that. He lost the rivalry with John Cena when he first came in. He lost the rivalry with Triple H. Then he wrestled CM Punk, which he won, but it wasn't, because Paul Heyman helped him. And then they had him at WrestleMania, and the guy hadn't done that much, and then he breaks the streak, kind of reinvigorates him. So I understand why they did it.
Yeah.
I don't think WWE will regret this decision now. I don't think they will regret it a year from now. I think they will regret it 5 years from now. when they're looking at their roster and wondering, why is this guy really struggling to get over? We've had him on the roster for ages. We could have really used him breaking the streak
Yeah.
to become a monumental star, and he could have said this for the last 5 years. It would have made him seem much more legitimate. And then Brock Lesnar sitting at home, finish his contract, doing whatever he wants to with a pile of money, with the streak that he doesn't need anymore. So
just counting it all off.
Yeah. It was always our issue with that. It wasn't that the streak was broken. I loved that the streak was broken. Yeah. Not in the way that it was done, but I loved that it was broken.
Yeah.
I was one of the few people that stated Undertaker categorically should not retire with that streak intact. He should lose it. Because it's a tool. And it's a tool that you should give to one of your rising stars to establish him as the next big thing, coin the term for Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
That's gone. So now 5 years from now, Brock won't be with them, or he might come back. I don't know, but he's not going to be as frequent as they would like. And they've got these young stars coming in, and they're like, we don't have this tool anymore. That was pretty much an instant. You're a main eventer now. You broke the streak. You're a top star. There you go. Done.
That's it. Congratulations, you're up there.
Yeah. Now it's going to take 6, 8, 12 months for these guys, maybe to get some semblance of a main event looking. Whereas it could have been much easier for them. But yeah, I don't think they regret it, and I think Vince McMahon will go to his grave not regretting it. But I think that long after that, they will look back at it. Yeah, sure, we did good business that year, but it sacrificed good business for the next couple of years, which I think is the issue.
That's it. Well, and besides, you got to think it was WrestleMania 30.
Yeah, like I said, we loved WrestleMania 30, and even for the streak breaking, because it made it even that much more memorable. We just don't agree with the way it was done, the way it was handled. But still, 5 years down the line, they may regret it, but Vince McMahon certainly won't. Fail of the week. Here we go. You missed this segment, haven't you, Matt? You love this segment.
It's been missing.
Yeah.
But we got to discuss about NXT last week, so it's not so bad.
I know. That filled the void. But fail of the week is coming back strong this week. One thing, however, I will state is that it's not so much I'm running out of fails, it's running out of fails that I want to talk about. I've still got a few in the bank. So, me and Matt are very strongly thinking, and we want your guys' feedback, replacing fail of the week with NXT review. It may mean longer episodes, but we just feel like that's the way to take the show forward. You know, we said that before, that it's not so much, especially in relation to Raw. Raw can sometimes be a proper slug to get through. NXT is easy to do. It really is, just for us to watch, and it'll be enjoyable for us to do it. But we want your thoughts for it there. How long have we had? We must have had the fail of the week segment on for about 30 episodes, surely.
Gotta be longer than that.
Gotta be longer than that. Anyway, the fail of the week this week, making a roaring return. So, let me paint the picture for you. It's back in the day. Not the golden era of wrestling, but the hot streak of wrestling. It is the Monday Night Wars. WCW rising up with Eric Bischoff taking the helm, Ted Turner's money. And they had a knack, WCW, for acquiring WWE talent from right under them. I mean, really, right under them. Lex Luger worked a live show for WWE. The next day, his contract expired, and he showed up on WCW television on the first episode of Nitro.
Yeah.
That's how quick this stuff was going on. So, yeah, that was pretty groundbreaking. You know, and a definite shot to WWE that they basically just taken him, you know, giving him a better deal, you know, or, you know, managed to
robbed him.
Yeah, you know, got him to the company. No matter which way they did it, right? So, more groundbreaking than that was Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, as we talked about earlier on. WCW's popularity exploded. I mean, fucking exploded. It went mental. The rivalry of not the rivalry, but the outsiders coming in and insinuating that they were WWE guys attacking WCW was great business for WCW, and a master stroke by Kevin Nash. No, not Kevin Nash, Eric Bischoff, right? Didn't always go that way for Eric Bischoff, but that particular part, master stroke.
He's not always full of crap.
Yeah. In terms of outplaying Vince McMahon, that was one hell of a move. that he played with them there.
Yeah.
So Nash and Hall were arguably the most must-see wrestlers on the planet at that moment. Everyone wanted to know what they were going to do and what they were going to say.
Especially considering, like, you had people... It was a way of, like, WCW were just like, why are they here? But then you had WWE guys like, I want to know why they went.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you're going to leave? Oh.
Yeah. Well, that isn't the fail, right? Yeah, that isn't a fail. I mean, technically, that's huge business. How can anyone... You can say it's a fail on WWE side, but not really. They just couldn't afford to pay it. Yeah, exactly. So it's awesome. Here is the fail. WWE's plan to start to steal some of that back was, of course, they owned the rights to the characters of Razor Ramon and Diesel. And they decided, well, it's not Nash and Hall people pay to see, it's the characters. So what we'll do is we'll put two people and we'll dress them up like Razor Ramon and Diesel and say, everyone, they're back in the company.
Hey, guys!
Yeah.
What the hell?
They stated this on live air, and then multiple times they kept stating, oh, you know, they're coming back, to the point that WCW was so worried that Nash had signed some secret deal that they gave him more money on top of the guaranteed contract he already had. And he was like, I'm not going anywhere, but fine, more money, I'll take that.
Yeah, but okay.
Yeah. So, you may be thinking, well, maybe did this work? Well, no. Of course it didn't. These two guys came out, and everyone knew from the outset that this was a pile of shit. That this wasn't going to work. That it looked ripped off. It looked fake. You know, considering it was the fake Diesel and fake Razor Ramon.
That's it.
And they made them look, arguably, very second fiddle. Some would say TNA-esque. You know, with the way they do things. Why is, you know, Brian Daniels here at the Impact Zone? That sort of stuff when they come out with that, you know. So they did this, it fell flat. You may recognise one of these men as working in WWE today. Fake Diesel was portrayed by Glenn Jacobs. You may better know him as Kane. So there's a bit of wrestling history for you there.
You may know him as the dentist.
Yeah, he had, poor man, the amount of fucking awful gimmicks that man had throughout his career before he managed to land big with the Hulk Kane character. Jesus Christ. But yeah, that's our fail of the week. WWE decided it'd be a great idea. Everyone will be fine with it. They'll do the Diesel and Razor Ramon.
Nobody will know the difference.
Yeah, and, you know, some people may say, oh, it was booked that way. But they knew people wouldn't know, but, you know, it was all done this way. It made WWE look desperate. It made them look as if they were creatively bankrupt. It made them look second fiddle. It made them look like an amateur organization. Back when WCW looked at that and they probably laughed their fucking asses.
It's like, they're panicking, the fools.
Because all it was an advertisement to state, we can't get the real guys, but the real guys are over here. And you can watch them on WCW. There you go. Big, massive fail. And you can go back and watch that on the WWE Network. And it's fucking hilarious. So go do that. It's fun. In fact, it's actually quite... I think it's one of the... I think it's like the second episode of the Monday Night Wars actually tracks that and it shows you their thoughts and stuff like that. It's really interesting to watch.
I haven't watched any of the Monday Night War stuff yet.
It's good.
I know it's quite biased in it. I know it's a bit biased in a whole, you know, history's written by the victor sort of style.
Yeah, but some of it, you know, when you're listening to it, like I said, if you know sort of the backstory, you can kind of cut it out, but there is still good stuff to see there. But and it's more so their kind of stuff afterwards that they kind of glorify WWE quite a bit. But
yeah.
Let's get into our Raw review. It's been about 40 minutes since we started this, so we've got predictions and everything to get through. We get into our main event of the podcast. The Raw review this week is the go-home show for Fastlane. WWE's last chance to sell tickets for what, as we've stated before, is a bit of a lackluster card. They've done as much as they can with it, but it has the look and feel of a filler pay-per-view. That's the bottom line.
To be fair, any pay-per-view leading into Mania's filler.
I thought Elimination Chamber managed to stand on its own merits, personally.
Yeah, well, it was just a big, interesting sort of match type.
Yeah.
So you could just shut your mind off and just like 6 people just beating the hell out of each other in a cage. Yay! Now it's like, oh, now I gotta watch bullshit.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Especially back when you had a Raw and SmackDown and 2 titles, like, so you had 2 chambers.
Yeah, and sometimes the SmackDown one, while you didn't really care who won it, it would have better wrestling and stuff like that, yeah. But yeah, it has the feel of a filler pay-per-view, and I gotta say, the theme song for the fucking pay-per-view sucks.
I haven't even listened.
It sucks. They show it sometimes, and they're trying to build up as this very quick drive, fast lane. The word is fast lane, right? Going to wrestle on the road to WrestleMania, and the song is the slowest piece of dump I've ever heard. It's just very slow and it's like, that's not. I remember back when they used to use rock songs, and I am a rock and roll metal fan. To get characters pumped up, oh yeah, come on, this is gonna be a fight. And now it's like, I don't even mind when they use like hip hop and pop songs to promote their shows, as long as they've got energy to it.
Oh, as long as it's so you don't mind Florida Georgia Line.
No.
Oh.
Shouldn't have said that. To a degree, okay, Matt. Okay. To a degree.
Okay, so as long as it's not country.
I don't even mind if it's country, as long as it's upbeat and good, of course. God, you're trying to trap me here. I don't like it. Okay. I don't like it.
The worst part is I've got South Park stuck in my head. I'm a little bit country.
But yeah, that's our thoughts on the build up to the pay-per-view. And the episode this week came from Orlando, Florida, who was the
home of NXT.
Yeah. So the fact is here that they've got the build up to the show. I think for some matches has been okay. Well, for one match I think it's been okay. But as we said, it has the look and feel of a filler pay-per-view. Did this show do anything to make us more excited for the event? I would say kinda, but not really. And we're going to go through the list as we go from there. John Cena opens up the show this week. Ladies and gentlemen, bow your heads and cross your arms, because the streak is over.
I was watching it and I was like, oh, no!
Mm-hmm.
But where are they?
Yeah, that's right.
They're not there, are they? Something's gone wrong.
Yeah, something stopped them.
They've got lost on the way to the venue, surely.
They got snowed out, like in Boston or something like that.
That's it.
Yeah, the Authority were not in the opening segment of this show. Me and Matt were, as you can hear, dumbfounded that this was not the case. I am not sure if they broke their previous record of 9 in a row. I think they're just shy of it, personally. But, Jesus, I don't think it's going to be like a trend. I think they'll be back next week. That's the way it will be, to announce what happened with Sting or anything along those lines. So,
oh yeah.
One thing we can thank Sting for is that it's given Triple H a reason not to come out early in the show. At least then he has to do the majority of his promos in the middle, and at the 1 hour mark, which is when they normally get their boom of watchers. So John Cena comes out. He plugs the network, plays to the crowd. Pretty much his first 2 cards in his deck, and he always plays them. I thought this may be a bit of a shocker. I thought John Cena here was actually pretty good throughout this promo. He got the fans interacted. Was passionate at very least, and he was just a lot different from the Authority coming out and just boring us to death.
Yeah, I mean, I did like it sometimes when you got like Cena's just like hell, I don't even mind if you boo me sort of thing. It's just like, I quite like his whole, we're all just here having fun sort of thing.
Yeah, when we get it too often, which is what happens sometimes, then it gets a drag. But let's face it, guys, we're going to praise this because it's not the Authority on the opening segment, So yeah. I'm going to hold my hands up and say, I'm fine with this.
I'm actually giving a shit about a US title match.
Well, I wouldn't go as far as that, okay?
Wow.
I'm
giving more of a shit than I should.
Yeah, more of a shit than usual, but yeah. He shows footage from last week, his brawl with Rusev, in which he got his eye gouged and thrown into the stage. He says no more to Rusev's crushes. He reminds us that Rusev is undefeated, but thinks he isn't unstoppable. And when I was thinking that, I was thinking, he's smelling it. The push-seeking missile has locked onto his target, and he's getting ready.
Soon he shall take it.
Yeah, that's it. It might not be next week. In fact, the pay-per-view, but it's coming. WrestleMania's coming, and he can smell it. Oh, that fresh push. Over a year, it's been sizzling just right. He's going to take it. That's what the push-seeking missile does. He does it every time. He says no matter what, he'll win the way he wants to. He won't change. And he's got this stuff of, I won't turn, and I've always been true to myself. The same usual Cena shtick. I've long lost hope of Cena, in this sense, becoming anything interesting, because he's done this often, time after time, and teasing the heel turn ever so, or stating about having a heel turn. With that ship has sailed. Like, even if you...
You know the one thing I love that promo where it's just like, or maybe a little heel turn. He just did a little like spin of his foot. You're a dick.
He's never going heel outright. They just won't do it. Just the way it is. He sells too much merchandise. There's too many Make-A-Wish stuff. He's a paragon of good for them. He's never going heel, and we know that. So
that's it.
Anytime this stuff comes up, I roll my eyes. I'm like, okay, get to the next part, because this is just boring to me.
Yeah.
He says he'll make history by being the first person to beat Rusev, and that he's fighting to win the US title. By the way, that was the first time in the promo he mentioned winning the United States Championship, which I was just waiting. I was like, okay, it's for the title. You want to win the US title because it's so prestigious, right? You want to win it. You want to raise its profile. No, that never really came up until right at the end. But I thought that this whole feud, while it isn't viewed that way by management because they look at it as an opportunity to get Cena more, to beat Rusev, and everyone can get behind Cena, he's this awesome person, right, which he doesn't need. But it is an opportunity to get the US title more exposure in what I would call a high profile feud.
Yeah.
They should have, all the way through this rivalry, made far more references that this is for the United States title. I don't think they've made nearly enough. They've made lots of references to him being the first person to beat Rusev, but not about the US title. Is beating Rusev more prestigious than the US title? I mean, the answer to that is yes, but it shouldn't be that way. Sure, beating Rusev for the first time would be fantastic, but becoming the United States champion, that should be huge, right? Becoming a champion. We said ages ago on with a question about multiple belts, and I said it's not about what belt you have, it's the fact that you are a champion. That's what it should be like. But obviously that isn't the case at the moment. Do you think they should have made more references to the US title?
No.
No.
No, I completely understand where you're going with
How dare you disagree with me, Matt? How dare you?
Sorry. I completely agree with sort of what you're saying, but it's just like it's the belt's on the line, but it's not a title feud. It's a feud. Just the belt's thrown in there.
I get you, and I agree with you in that sense, but shouldn't they look at this as an opportunity that they could make it about the belt?
Well, they could.
But they're not going to, yeah.
They're not going to. Yeah. This is just Cena versus Rusev, and just happens that Rusev's a champion.
Yeah, that's it. I said ages ago they should have had a thing. They should have got rid of that US belt and done a really good promo of him getting a sledgehammer and smashing the fucking thing.
Yeah.
I thought that would have been really powerful. This is what I think of your championship belt. Spits on it, crack.
Like, yeah, because now it's not so much fuck you America anymore. It's just, well, nobody else has beaten me, so I guess I am the best. Yeah. And that's been it, really.
Yeah. That's the way I would have done it. And the fact is that the US title has been little to nothing. Right? They made a reference to Dean Ambrose later on in the show about how great of a champion he was. Yeah,
he didn't defend it.
He was one of the longest running US champions. One of the skits we did on this show, one of the only skits we've done, and I do want to do more in the future, but one of the only skits we've done on this show was us going through the Amazon forest looking for the rarest sites, which is a US title defense, because they don't fucking exist.
Yeah.
How many US title defenses have we had over the last 5 years? I bet you could count them under 20, which is wrong.
Excuse me. I completely agree, though.
It's bad when Brock Lesnar, as a WWE champion, defends his title more regularly than the US championship. You know what I mean? Like, what's going on with this? Come on.
What's up? I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Rusev and Lana come out. Lana says that Cena's problem is that he lives in a delusional world. Rusev lives in reality. I think Lana's been taking tips from Paul Heyman about people living in reality. To be honest, can't ask for much better advice, in terms of being a manager than Paul Heyman. Lana promises that Cena won't come back after his match with Rusev, and not coming back for Cena is pretty much 1 week off TV. So
Yeah.
Rusev says that he'll break Cena's spirit. His will to live will be crushed. And then the pair end up brawling on the stage. Cena comes out on top, pretty much mirroring the beating he got the week prior. And then commentary are talking... I love this, man. You should have known I was bringing this up. Commentary are talking about how we've never seen this John Cena. A new John Cena. He's being unleashed upon Rusev. How many John Cenas are there?
Like, we definitely seen this Cena.
Cena has either... Commentary thinks he has multiple personality syndrome, because he keeps having new Cenas pop up, new versions of him. Or the man is just basically, he can morph into whatever he wants, different versions of himself. He's basically an action figure, you know? Oh, this new Cena! How many times have you and me heard it? You know? This new unbridled rage Cena. Like, apparently there's billions of them, because he appears every 2 months, it seems like, you know, whenever it comes into a rivalry. Apparently
this new angry Cena. Ooh.
So yeah, that was the opening segment. I thought it was a competent opening, and I thought it was a breath of fresh air, considering there was no fucking authority. I cannot stress that enough. It was amazing not to have them at the start of the show. I was expecting it. Maybe them to come out and break them up. They don't have to say anything, but they have to be involved in the opening segment.
Yeah.
You know?
Hold up. Why are you here?
So yeah, no authority. I give this opening a thumbs up. And I think they've done pretty much as they can in terms of building up a Cena-Rusev rivalry, even though it was started up in a shit way, you know, because it was just done on like the after show of the Royal Rumble. But yeah, fair enough. In my predictions, I'd explain why the build up to this match is pretty much needless. But we'll see. Well, not needless because, you know, they want to sell tickets, but you'll see the reason why. It doesn't really matter what happens at Fastlane when it comes to these two. Ambrose is backstage. He's auditioning as a news reporter. He says that he'll beat Harper tonight, Luke Harper, and he'll make Barrett sign the contract for his Intercontinental title match at Fastlane. I don't know why they did this segment. I get it, like...
Nah.
Ambrose is unhinged, yeah? So, he just does crazy shit sometimes. Like trying to be a news reporter. For no reason.
That man be cray.
I know he's trying to play off the whole BNZ stuff, but we had that for 1 week by Barrett, and it wasn't really explained what the fuck he was doing with it. The only reason we do is because we follow WWE way more than a general fan would. I guarantee you my wife would be like, why is he doing a news reporting? Like, what was that all about? So yeah, if you're looking for us for reasons why he decided to be the Anchorman, I have no clue.
I don't know, I'm pretty sure we're not going to catch him screaming about being in a glass box of emotion.
Glass box of emotion! He's going to start seeing dogs being kicked. That's what Barrett's going to do. He's going to kick Ambrose's dog. That's what it's going to be. Yeah, exactly. Even them ripping off Anchorman can still be better than half their comedy than they can do. So.
Oh, yeah.
The one thing I will say about Ambrose, though, I kind of dislike him being moved into what they perceive to be a more comedic role. Seems like he's doing comedy each week. I don't mind him being funny, but when they're going to, what do we have to do with Ambrose this week? Oh, he's unhinged, he's funny, right? It just seems to be their thought when they're booking him at the moment. I don't like it. I think he's better than that.
Yeah.
Recapture the magic you had to do this guy back with his Rollins rivalry. He can sell a rivalry, and they might point to, well, the Bray Wyatt rivalry didn't work too well. That was down to them, the manager.
They fucked that up.
Yeah, it wasn't Ambrose's fault. I always got the feeling that Wyatt and Ambrose was doing the very best with what they had, but it seemed like they had no story throughout that whole thing.
Yeah, trouble is, they didn't have a lot.
Yeah, exactly. So this leads into the opening match, Ambrose against Harper. As I said there, it's hilarious when commentary uses the Ambrose US title run as proof that he's championship material. He defended his title maybe a handful of times, if that. Almost. And like I said, he had that title for fucking months. For ages. Yeah? and just ridiculous. For the match though, it was pretty good. Liked it. Physicality with Harper's matches. I do like the physicality that he brings when he.
Yeah, the thing I quite like is the fact that I've watched Harper, Harper and Ambrose matches before.
Yes. CCW.
Sort of John Moxley, sort of as John Moxley and that. Like even outside of WWE.
Yeah.
And even then, they've all been really good.
Yeah, they have good chemistry, I would say. You would have good chemistry with someone that you've been working that long, and sometimes that happens, and sometimes it doesn't. With Orton and Cena, who work together way too much and don't have chemistry. But Ambrose and Harper does. I think Harper. A lot of people give props, and us on this show, Ziggler is such a great worker, and he is, and Rollins is such a great worker, and he is. I think Harper is just as good as them in a different role. He's more physical than those guys, but Harper constantly pulls out decent matches. I think he's unsung in that sense. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. I think he's been underrated for that.
Yeah, definitely. And the fact is, he's not in a rivalry at the moment, and it doesn't look like he's going to be. That just looks like got no plans for the guy, and it's a shame. I think he could deliver 5-star matches for you.
Yeah.
Definitely. Arguably, and this is contentious, arguably, on some nights, in the ring, in terms of performing, he's better than Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
On the mic, he ain't. Presentation, he ain't. But in the ring, yeah. I'd say that.
I think that's why he was the one that we were like, he's safe.
Yeah.
Don't really have anything to worry about when it comes to Luke Harper.
Yeah. The only thing I'd be worried about with him is if they just... Sometimes you can be... You can have Dolph Ziggler syndrome. You can be that good that they just want to keep you in the middle of the show because you do solid each week. I hope that doesn't happen with him. I think he's better than that, but there we go.
Yeah.
I think Harper... I don't want to stick on this too long. We're talking a lot about Harper. I wasn't expecting to. But I think Harper would do well with a manager. I think you pair him up with a manager. I think he goes well. I think he goes fast. Yeah, and it would have to be the right kind of manager. You can't have like Paul Heyman. That just wouldn't work.
No.
You need the right kind of manager. Someone as deranged maybe as he is, to manage him and be aside him. I think it gives him something a little bit extra because I think at the moment in terms of his ring work is excellent. Outside of it, not really.
Needs work. Yeah.
Needs work. Triple H is backstage with Kane and Big Show. The big guys are arguing about their problem last week with Big Show and Kane messing up. Kane calls out Big Show stupid. Calls him stupid, for messing up at the Royal Rumble. And Big Show makes a quip about Sting making Triple H shit a brick last week. Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, it didn't go down too well.
Yeah, it didn't look like he pooped himself, but there we are. That's what he was going for, so fair play. Triple H pooed himself down.
Poo suit.
Oh, come on. We almost went one whole episode without a poo joke.
Nah, can't be done.
Can't be done on this show. Oh, well. We're going down a shameless pay-per-view plot as well, also. We also do that. So Triple H sends his boys off to go do battle with Bryan and Reigns in singles matches. And it is refreshing, as I said, to see the Authority out of the opening segment. However, if this is building to a Kane versus Big Show feud, I have absolutely no interest in seeing Kane versus the Big Show.
Yeah, so that would definitely be one of those moments of just like simply, nope.
No, yeah, that would be as skippable as a regular Total Divas match.
Yeah. Just
saying, I've got no desire to watch a Kane and Big Show feud, none at all. And if they decide, they're going to feud, they're not going to get on each other's nerves, they'll have a match at WrestleMania, I'm going to be like, fuck that. That is not a WrestleMania-worthy match. Just saying.
I will pass.
And a lot of people may argue with us that we're quite harsh on both Kane and Big Show, because anyone they work with, we state we just don't want to see them work with each other. That is what happens when you've got two guys that have been in the industry that long, and we've seen everything they can do against the roster that are there at the moment.
That's it. There's nothing new that they can bring.
Yeah. We've seen
so it's just like, well, that's it.
Yeah. And it's not so much what they were doing was groundbreaking to begin with. And I still think these guys are brilliant. I think Big Show doesn't get enough props for the athleticism he has. Kane is always the constant. But when you do the constant for like 20 years, that can get a little bit boring. You know, it's just
kind of a bit samey.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that both these guys hopefully eventually will move into roles outside of wrestling. I just think that their usefulness, unfortunately, has gone.
Yeah.
So, Bray Wyatt's promo. There's first of 3 on this show. Plenty of Wyatt's promos here, so if you do like Wyatt promos, you're in for a treat. He references Taker's loss at Mania last year, and now Wyatt pities him. And I pity Wyatt for what will be a horrible start to the year for when he loses at Taker at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
That's about it. I'm still not sold. I know you are, Matt. I know you like this. And I like the promos. I can't get past what happens after Mania. What happens? Can't get it out of my head. Maybe that's part of the reason. That's part of the downside of doing the podcast. I remind myself each week he's going to lose to Taker. So
yeah, you can't sort of suspend belief for a little bit.
That's it. I do expect Taker to not make an appearance at Fastlane, but at Raw after Fastlane. That's it. He has to make an appearance soon. That's the bottom line.
Yeah,
really.
Simply enough.
Stardust and Goldust are backstage. They got their daddy Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, and he messes up by first saying Cody. You know, that's the buzzword with Stardust. You can't say Cody at him anymore. Saying that nothing will matter without his family. Stardust.
I thought they were just allowing it because it's dad.
Oh yeah, maybe. It's just that the whole thing about the rivalry, about the storyline, is that you say Cody to him and then he freaks out. So I thought it'd be weird if they went back on that. Stardust, as you said there, it looks like he takes the words on board, but we kind of knew what was happening. They had a match straight after. You knew they weren't going to be on the same board going forward from that. So, New Day. That's the only time I'm going to say it like that because it's
Yay!
And I just want to say it against you because you really annoyed me a couple of weeks ago with it. Also.
New Day.
Oh shit! I had to do it.
It bothers you, does it?
It does bother me. These guys are fucking nothing. We said right when they debuted, and people were saying, "Oh, these guys look fresh. They look like they're gonna go somewhere." Oh my god, what a fucking joke! Oh my god, they're not going. No! Shut up. They're not going. Can people see now that they are no better off than all these guys individually were when they all banded off together? Maybe Xavier Woods is better off, but really.
He's getting TV time. It's a good step in the right direction.
There's no positive.
It's better than he was getting.
Better. I don't care. I just don't care. Don't even want to talk about it. Goldust is sporting one hell of a new jacket this week. I wonder did you like that new jacket, Matt?
No, it's not new. Well, it's newer.
Is it?
It's newer. He has worn it before.
Oh, okay. It's the first time I've seen it. So.
Yeah.
It looked badass.
I do like it.
You being the authority on Goldust's jacket.
I do like it.
Yeah. Mediocre match. Well, I say mediocre. Pretty shit match, to be honest. Didn't go really that far. And as we said the week before, when Goldust still has every drop of ink left on his face after a match, you know the guy hasn't worked.
Yeah.
So New Dust. God.
New Dust.
No, fucking.
New Dust.
I want to get out of this talking segment as quick as I can. Yeah, that's the way I'll do it. Right, New Day get the pin.
New Day.
Oh, please say our fans want to kill you as well at the moment. Right, they get the pin on Goldust. Stardust then helps up his brother. We've seen this tons before. Goldust is struggling to get to his feet, and Stardust goes, "Well, fuck it. If you can't keep up with me, I'm gonna black hole slam you." That's what he does. That's the name of his move, the Crossroads. That's what he calls it now.
Yeah.
Does that, sets up the rivalry that I thought was going to happen for WrestleMania, but it turns out it's happening at Fastlane.
Yeah, I don't get this.
Yeah,
let's have it at Fastlane. What are you going to do? I'm really curious what they're going to do at Mania.
They'll probably be part of that. They'll probably do Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and they'll be in that.
I hope not.
I thought that these two guys were as good as they can be in the ring. I thought that would be a very decent match to have at Mania.
At Mania, yeah.
And book it as...
during that interview, we both put it down as we'd book it for Mania.
Yeah, and I would book it as Goldust's retirement match. Maybe Goldust has said to him, "Well, I'm not ready to retire." That kind of put the spanner in that works. But even then, I still think it would have been okay. Obviously, you wouldn't give them 20 minutes, maybe a 10-minute match, but I think they could do a lot in 10 minutes. These guys. They know each other that well, but still, there we are. Happening at Fastlane, so there we are. Roman Reigns backstage is interviewed by Byron Saxton. He's asked what the journey has been like for Roman Reigns Reigns says that he's focused on the destination of WrestleMania, and he doesn't blame Bryan for this situation and has respect for him. He calls out Bryan for not taking his elimination at Royal Rumble like a man, and Reigns is the man who gave him the opportunity. So, yeah, asshole Reigns here, basically stating Bryan's nothing and all this lot. And I said...
and he's just being a bitch about it.
He's being an asshole, which I would still argue is much better than him telling us fairy tale stories. So, asshole Reigns for me, I think it's alright, personally. Most people don't like asshole Reigns. I do like asshole Reigns. That's
it. Face Reigns weren't working.
Yeah. Make it, like I said, make him a bit of an asshole. Maybe that's what you need to do. I would argue that the way they were going wasn't working. You may as well make some sort of adjustment. So, that's the way it is.
That's it.
To me, asshole Reigns, which is what I'm calling him now, because it's just great. Asshole Reigns is far more entertaining to watch, even though he's still... When he does promos, you can still tell he's reading up a script. But he's still way more interesting than the Reigns that he was before.
Yeah.
Which was Cena Reigns, essentially. Now he's asshole Reigns. That's great. I like that. Backstage, during the break, Stardust tells Dusty that Cody is gone. And that just like Cody is gone, Cody is dead. Sorry, I think is the word he said. And so is his father to him. So he also says that having two freaks in the family have caused him to explode. I thought this promo from Stardust reminded me a bit of when he did the promo when he was fired. Do you remember? It was very full of passion. It was like he was really into it, and it was scathing. And sure, the two are different. This was a heel, speech, and the other one was a face one.
Yeah.
I thought this was actually a lot better than people make it out to be. I really liked Cody. I'm gonna get beaten up, but still, Cody Stardust here. Would you agree?
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, quick but short and sweet, and I really liked the intensity. He really felt as if he was telling his dad just to go fuck himself, essentially, and it's harsh, but still, one of the best storylines WWE have done over recent years is the Rhodes Brothers storyline where Goldust came back. And that a large part of that was
great.
Large part of that was the whole family dynamic between them. So hopefully they can I hope they do a video package before Stardust and Goldust. And they show that it could be a great video package to show. You only have to do the last couple of years, and it would be a really good thing to do.
Just sort of what they did was feuding with like the Shield and Usos.
Yeah, just to stay in the company, and to rise up to those heights. Brilliant stuff. I thought it would have been great. So. For the record, even though it's at Fastlane, I'm still looking forward to this match. I think it will be a good one. Not a humdinger, but a good one. I think it would.
Yeah.
I had to put humdinger in the show. It's not a Let's Talk Wrestling without a humdinger, even if it wasn't used in the right way. I had to say the words.
Yeah.
Humdinger.
Humdinger needs to be mentioned.
That's it. Roman Reigns versus Kane. Here we go. Right. You may think, wow, this would be an opportunity to make Reigns look pretty good. And, to a degree it is. I would argue that Daniel Bryan on commentary stole the show in this match.
Yeah.
I thought Bryan on commentary was fantastic, surprisingly fantastic. Because the one chink in his armour that I would state he has, and
his promo.
Yeah, as you state. I thought that part of his work here was fantastic. I loved him on commentary. I loved the stuff he was saying. He was, to a degree, as arrogant as Reigns has been. Leading up to...
The one thing I quite like is the fact that Reigns is just like, I feel like I'm the better, and there's Bryan who's always just like, but I'm the better wrestler.
Yeah, that's it.
It's like, oh...
He's like, he's talking about him main event in WrestleMania, and he knows what it takes, and Reigns doesn't, and stuff like that. I thought Bryan was fantastic. One of my criticisms of Daniel Bryan, not just of his promo work, but when he was in that best rivalry of his career to date, not his best, but his most high profile, right, was against Triple H and the Authority. The amount of times we saw him get decimated by them, get almost drowned by them, and he would stand in the ring and cut jokes a little bit and smile here and there with Triple H opposite him. It was like, you're too nice. You know, this guy almost killed you, and you're like, okay.
That's cool.
Yeah. So one of my criticisms that he was too soft-sounding, almost too approachable. Here, he was coming off a little bit like a dick. You know, a little bit like,
Sure.
well, I'm better than this guy. I'm going to beat him. That's the way it's going to be. I think it's fine for faces to act that way, to a degree, of course. But I think he's
Well,
struck.
nothing wrong with a little bit of arrogance.
Yeah, he's, you know, even as a face, you have to be confident of your abilities. Don't do a John Cena all the time and be like, you're a great competitor, I can respect you. Sure, if you're a face and you're going against another face, act hurt. I'm fine in the way that you spoke here, honestly. I don't think it... Some people fear. I think they're too worried that Bryan's going to lose his steam. He won't, I promise you. He's over. That's done. He's over, right? No one's going to take that away from him. Even if he were to go heel, the fans are going to cheer him, right?
It's like, what are you worrying about?
Yeah. Like, the fact is that he can go a little bit darker than what he is, and he ain't going to lose any of his following. Arguably, he would get some more. Yeah? So, there we are. So the match is okay. Not great, but okay. Reigns gets the win by count out after a spear on the outside. Not what I would choose to make him look strong, but okay, fair enough. Reigns invites Bryan into the ring, but Bryan yeses all outside the ring instead. And yeah, some people, as I said, they may be worried about dividing the fans. I actually quite like the build up to this match, I have to say. What about you? What do you like the build up to it? Do you think it's damaging?
I'm liking the build up. No, I don't think it's damaging at all. I think they've done really well.
Yeah. Some people may be looking past it and going, well, you know, some people might catch me out here and say, well, you can't get into Undertaker versus Bray Wyatt because you think he's going to lose, so you can't get into it. I think that's more so because there's promos going on at the moment and Taker's not in them. That's why I can't get too much into it as well. I can get into this because I've already resigned to the fact that Roman Reigns will win this match. I just think that Daniel Bryan's going to do all this talk about making him look strong. Daniel Bryan's going to make him look stronger than anyone else in that company ever could. He's going to give him the best match of Roman Reigns' career. And I'm excited for that. I really am. So there we are. Yeah, and I'm all up for babyfaces getting a little bit grittier, getting the John Cena shine off of them, and maybe being a little bit of a dick. I'm fine with them being a little bit of a dick.
Yeah, we're good.
Arrogant, and sure of their abilities. You know, I've got no problem. In fact, I love it. There you go. Renee Young speaks to Bryan backstage, asking about his mind games. Bryan says that Reigns isn't mentally tough, and if he's worried by a few yes chants, there's going to be tons of them at Fastlane. I thought it was a quick and good promo.
Yeah.
It was fine. Wyatt is back again. He says, Limbo is no place for a soul like yours. That's why, Matt, you've been living in the internet limbo for too long. Yeah, that's it. He's talking about you, Matt, all this time. He wants to wrestle you at WrestleMania. Are you up for that?
I'll go for that.
Yeah? No, he's not. He's talking about Taker.
Oh.
Sorry, I got you up. Sorry. As I said before, the whole shtick will get better when Taker and Wyatt are face to face and they're doing promos.
Yeah.
As much as I dislike the idea of the feud, it will get better because at the moment it's just too cryptic and.
Well, you say cryptic.
I don't mind it being cryptic.
Oh no, who could he possibly be facing?
Yeah, I know. But the fact is, because Taker's not there, at the moment it has a little bit no destination, and they need to go towards that.
Yeah.
I like that they're teasing it, but it will get better, and it will gain traction once Taker is there. And the sooner they get Taker there, the sooner this can really get forward, move on. But it can't at the moment, so. Here we go. The moment where thousands of men's ears pricked up in unison. The very words that Paige would have to wrestle a match naked.
Do you see all the like the Twitter thing from Scott Hall?
No, what did he say?
It's just like, Paige naked, you have my attention.
Yeah.
And then, a fan like tweeted him just saying maybe you could just add dirty old pervert to your resume.
Well, the fact is that the majority of fans, when you offer them a Paige naked match, hell, even my wife would want to watch a Paige naked match. It's not just, let's just get on with it. Anyway, let's explain what the hell we're talking about here. But, yeah, Brian Saxton tries to interview Paige, but the Bellas make off with her ring gear. They say if...
Oh, you Bellas.
Oh,
you scamps.
Scamps. They say if Paige is going to wrestle, then she'll have to do it naked. And that was the moment that, as I said, thousands upon thousands of... I imagine teenage boys were ready, getting their hands down their pants by the very idea of this. They were ready to, as Matt so eloquently says, what was it, crank out a couple of keyboard children. I love that statement. I love it. Yeah, but still. And as you say, Scott Hall, fucking hell, he was all ready for it. I imagine a lot of people would want to see a Paige naked match. So, Paige then tries to borrow some of Cameron's gear, but she says it wouldn't look good on her, and says the words, "Girl, bye."
Yes.
That is the most annoying catchphrase I've ever heard in my life.
No, I think her most annoying one is that, I can't even remember what the fuck she says, but it's something.com.
Thebomb.com.
That's it.
Pretty much anything that comes out of her mouth
Fuck off.
fucking annoys the shit out of me. Ugh. How does she still have a... You know what's ironic, right? Watching Total Divas, you know.
Yeah.
There's a large bit on that show where she's talking about this huge decision that she has to go, whether she goes back to NXT because she might not ever come back to the main roster, and she's showing off all the bruises that she has working at NXT, or working so hard. If you remember, she came back from NXT and tried to pin someone when they were the wrong way round. How the fuck do you get worse by going to NXT? How do you go to NXT and... I don't know how to explain.
I can't. I don't know. I don't know what you want me to say.
How do you go to a place that has fucking Sami Zayn, Charlotte, Bayley, Sasha Banks, which are all very good, Adrian Neville, you're in the ring, you're bumping with them, you're training with them, you're watching what they can do, and you're being trained by fantastic talent, legends of the business, and you come back and don't know how to pin someone.
Like, she's back training with fucking Bill DeMar.
Yeah.
And it's just like, how is Big Bill allowing this to happen?
And you might be saying she made one mistake about pinning her. Guys, did she really get better in the ring from going to NXT? Really? Taking that absolutely fucking abysmal piece of crap moment aside, has she really got better? No.
Hell
she hasn't.
No.
And you know, part of the reason why she's not featured is because she didn't get better. Because she isn't good in the ring. Really, how often is she on TV nowadays? I'd argue that a majority of the Total Divas cast are there for Total Divas. They're not there for the actual show.
No.
Rosa Mendes, she's there for Fandango. Fandango's rarely put on the show. You've got, who we were just talking about, Cameron, barely on the show, right? Yeah. You've got Eva Marie. We haven't fucking seen her. I don't mind, but we haven't seen her. She's there for Total Divas. She was always there just for Total Divas. She was never there for Raw. She was there for Raw because then they could have footage of her wrestling in the ring. It'd be all cool for E, right? People wonder why I have an issue with that show, because it gets into my weekly fucking television show too much.
Yeah, I know.
But still, at least that's kind of going out a little bit. At very least, they're featuring the Total Divas girls that can wrestle. You know, the likes of Paige, the Bellas, who can wrestle, and Natalia, who can wrestle when she gets the time. Summer Rae, who can wrestle, she just doesn't get that much time to do so, but she can wrestle far better than the majority of them. So, there we are. Anyway, carrying on. What happens here? Paige borrows one of the Rosebud's fairy costumes, and she comes out with it later on. I thought this was funny, this whole storyline with her being forced to dress up in weird clothes, considering the tons of reports that we heard of the Bellas owning the Divas locker room and forcing new talent to get changed in the corridors. Now, we can't say that happened for sure, but there was fucking loads of reports of that happening.
It was going around for a while, yeah.
Apparently Mickie James had a lot of that shit happen to her. So it wasn't just a bullying storyline on camera. Apparently that shit was happening behind the scenes as well. That was part of the reason why she left. So there is that as well. And I know you've got a soft spot for Mickie James, so...
Yeah.
Anyway, the match itself.
Mickey.
Yeah. The match itself. For the record, Paige in a fairy costume, I thought was going pretty well. Yeah,
it was good.
She makes it work. Summer Rae is in hysterics. Paige then proceeds to give her a bit of a kicking. Despite the storyline, I thought that Paige came off like a bit of a badass after this was all done. So I thought the idea actually was fairly decent, I have to admit. Because, they posed her with this situation where, oh, she can't wrestle properly and all this, like, she overcomes it, still beats her opponent, looks good in what she's wearing. Fair enough, I get it. So I'm going to praise creative.
I don't know what to say.
I know.
Hey.
Yeah. I thought this was a good idea.
It worked, I'll give them that.
Shall we all just take a moment, sit down, where I praised creative on the show? Are you okay, Matt?
Especially, it's like, you're praising creative when it's something to do with the women's division.
I know. Everyone take a moment, take a breather, go get a drink. I understand that must be quite shocking. No, honestly, guys, I thought it was the right idea. I mean, they could have done far. They've done far worse, you know.
Yeah,
I thought legitimately, especially with Paige's promo, it made her look like she was a bit of a badass. You know, fuck what they do with my clothes. I don't need my clothes to wrestle and kick someone's ass. I'll do that myself.
That's it.
Fair play. So yeah, Paige gets the victory. Scorpion crosslock. She calls it the PTO.
Do you know one thing I've noticed recently?
Go on.
Where's the PTO gone? Not the PTO. The Rampage. Not the Rampage.
Oh, what's she? Paige Turner.
That's it.
I think the Rampage is a better finisher. So I think she's sticking with what works, personally.
Yeah. So I was just thinking to myself, I don't remember the last time I saw her do a Rampage.
She doesn't wrestle in long enough matches where more than one finishing move really is needed to be used.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. I mean, she's got 3, so that's pretty good for her, I would say. But I think the Rampage and PTO far outweighs the Paige Turner, personally.
Yeah.
The thing about the Paige Turner is it never looked like it was that devastating, personally. And she fucked it up, or AJ Lee fucked it up on her debut, and it just looked a bit wrong. So
yeah. And the Rampage just looks...
Oh, the Rampage looks savage. It really does. It looks like she's driving someone in. It's good. So the Bellas come out afterwards. They attempt to do the, oh, look at you in the fairy costume. And Paige goes, I don't need an outfit to look good. She just needs to win. That's why I'd stay here. That I thought it was good. So.
And it's just like, it's nothing more than accessories, you know. But you know what will look good at Fastlane? When I'm wearing that belt.
Yeah.
I loved it. It was great.
Yeah. We all praise whoever booked this. I thought it was fine. So, yeah. Shock. Oh, my goodness. That's not me saying, oh, I expected to get fantastic or even good each week. No, it'll probably go back to being shit, but that's the way it is. Seth Rollins versus Dolph Ziggler, the sell-off. There we go. Rollins is fresh from last week's debacle, and today he says is President's Day. But it's a waste of time because Rollins is the future. He could be president if he wanted to. Well, he's got the Bill Clinton vote, that's for sure. We all know that Bill Clinton does love the ladies, so
that's it.
He wants to get backed by him. He says that he can do whatever he wants, as he's the most talented performer in the world, the most valuable asset in all of WWE. He can do anything he wants, even taking naked pictures without being caught. Oh,
that's it.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, maybe not.
Too soon? Too soon? Maybe?
No, let's roll lady find them, are you?
Not even the wrestlers we like on this show are safe from the satire. That's what I would state. God. So, he says that he should be main eventing WrestleMania, not dealing with the likes of Rowan, Ryback, and Ziggler. You say Dolph Ziggler's name, and then as he appears, the way that WWE's logic tends to go. So Ziggler says that Rollins had a bad Valentine's Day. I imagine he probably did with all the personal drama going around, but still.
He did, yeah.
Yeah. Ziggler then drops some extremely rehearsed comedy. Ziggler normally on a mic doing comedy actually works. Here, I thought it was a bit forced and a bit bad.
Yeah.
You caught that as well.
Yeah, the fact that it actually took Rollins to actually go, oh, that's right, you're a comedian.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, no.
Yeah, I was not too happy.
He couldn't get it across himself.
I remember doing that segment he did with Hugh Jackman a few weeks back, and he never gets a mic in his hand, but he was really funny. A lot funnier than the forced comedy that they normally do. And here, it just seemed like the usual thing they were doing. He was reading off lines. It wasn't that great anyway, and then there we are. Rollins, as you said, comes off better in the verbal exchange. Ziggler says that he'll take out Rollins, and then the match begins. Noble and Mercury are ejected early in the match. One of the spots I love in matches, by the way, is when the referee ejects like a side person from a match.
Yeah.
I don't know why, I just like that.
I've never understood like the show of the hand.
Yeah, it's just like he shakes his hand, there's a little dance, and then, yeah, you're out of here.
You're out. It's like, why? Why is that a thing?
It always gets a pop, though, doesn't it? Everyone loves it when they do that, so, yeah. So, yeah, they get ejected earlier on. Then Ziggler's hair, I don't know if you noticed this, Ziggler's hair was what I like to call in Mega Mr. Perfect mode. Which should be a difficulty mode in WWE's games, by the way. Mega
Perfect.
Mega Perfect mode. Essentially, you take a picture of Ziggler's hair in this match and put it next to Mr. Perfect in any of his high-profile matches after about 15 minutes. It's pretty much the same. It's just everywhere. It's like fucking afro. It's crazy. So, I thought this match was pretty fun. We've seen these guys wrestle each other before, but it's good stuff with them. High quality wrestling. As it's coming to its end,
it's the sort of stuff we like.
Yeah, quick moves, reversals, all that good stuff. As it looks like Ziggler's about to win the match, he's just hit the zigzag after a really cool back and forth with Rollins. J&J security come in, cause the DQ. And then they're beating up Ziggler. This brings down Ryback and Rowan to come in from the save. Noble's left in there. Ryback spine busters him. And that's pretty much it for that segment. And
that's it.
You think this will build to a 6-man tag match?
Cue the chance.
Yeah. You think it would build to a fast lane 6-man tag match with, the Survivor Series group against Rollins, JJ Security. But it's going to be Rollins, Kane, and Big Show, which it's more of a contest. It's not a match I want to see, but it's more of a contest.
Oh, is that what it's going to be?
Yeah, it's not going to be JJ Security. So.
Oh, okay.
There we go. Yeah. That match is one of the few. There's quite a few matches on the roster on the Fastlane card. You can tell it's just been so forced together that these people have been put in matches just for the sake of putting them in matches.
Yeah,
that's just one of them. Triple H is out, quivering in fear over another fake Sting making an appearance. As we know. They show a video package of the story so far between the two, explaining everything in a good, concise manner, which of course leads Triple H to explain everything in an unnecessary, complex manner. He does spare us from doing that this week, but he normally does that. That's what I'm saying in general. They often do a thing of doing this really cool video package which explains everything that we would need to know about the rivalry, and then they spend the next 10 minutes explaining everything that happened in the rivalry.
Yeah, don't forget.
Yeah. You've seen it all on the Titantron. Now let me narrate it to you in very slow sense, so you guys can understand. They say pictures show 1,000 words. Maybe they should remember that. We're spared, as we said, from the Triple H stuff, but he says that at Fastlane, the unthinkable will happen, Matt. The unthinkable! WCW and WWE will stand in the ring face to face. Someone may want to remind Triple H of the Invasion storyline.
Yeah.
WCW and WWE stood in the same ring. Or better yet, let's just all forget it, because that whole thing was pretty botched anyway, so just do that.
Yeah, just move on with it.
Move on, yeah. Maybe he's tried to forget it. That's the way it is now. Ric Flair turns up, and, to great response there.
To great response. Jesus, I couldn't even hear it half the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Just I can clearly see that they're talking, but all I hear is the crowd going, woo!
Yeah.
Woo! Woo! Woo!
Yeah,
it's like, Jesus.
All I want to see before Ric Flair is not got anything to do with wrestling. I want him to have a woo-off with his daughter. Just to shout in the ring and just woo at each other.
Just a pair of them just face to face wooing.
Going red in the face as they just go woo. Whoever books NXT, just give us that, Don't know why I want to see that.
No.
He says that he's there, that he loves and respects Triple H, but urges him not to take Sting lightly. Triple H praises Sting, but he says if Sting ever came to the WWE, he would run him out of the company due to Sting's legacy being built on Flair's reputation. I've got a bit of a plot hole to state with that. Aren't all wrestlers' legacies built on someone else's reputation?
Yeah.
I'd be hard pressed to think of anyone who came up not banking on someone else. Isn't that the whole coining the term of putting someone over is all about?
Well, yeah.
I mean, Triple H's legacy was built on multiple people's reputation. Ric Flair's, Shawn Michaels, just a few. Um, the fact is that was a bit of a stupid thing because his legacy was only there because Flair's reputation was there. That's the same for every wrestler that you come in. If you're
Yeah.
new, more than likely you're working on a reputation of a higher guy. That's just the way it is,
That's it, because someone else has said to give you the chance.
You could say that Daniel Bryan's main event legacy is down to John Cena's reputation because he beat John Cena and that's what got him to the upper echelons, right? So does that discredit everything that Daniel Bryan does? No.
No, not at all.
Does that make John Cena the one that is could be thanked for everything that Daniel Bryan's done in his career? No, that's not how it works. So there we are. I thought that was a bit strange. Flair says that at last year's Mania he backed Triple H against Daniel Bryan and he lost because he takes time off because he's a part-time wrestler.
Yep.
Triple H says that when it comes to kicking Sting's ass, Flair is no Triple H. And Flair urges him not to fall on his ass like he did last year. This prompts Triple H to push him down. And
Last year? They referred to it last week.
Oh, last week, sorry, yeah, getting that wrong. But Flair says that he tells Flair, that no one will get him between him and the company. Not even his relationship with China, damn it! I mean, the rivalry with Sting, damn it! We'll get into that. Google that shit. Google it.
Punch.
Google it.
Punch drunk.
Let's not go into that, shall we? Shameless pay-per-view plot, Matt. Shameless pay-per-view plot.
Okay.
I thought the rivalry between Sting and Triple H, I think it's doing okay. Last week was a bit of a misstep, but I did like the idea. But it'll get better once Sting is more involved. I think they'll at least have the face-to-face between him and Sting at Fastlane will at the very least be interesting. That's all I can ask.
Oh, that much is true, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm up for what. It's not as if I'm like, I can skip that. I do genuinely want to see what happens, so fair play. I'm alright. Still think that if Taker and Sting are at the same WrestleMania, they should be wrestling each other, but I know I've beaten that horse to death, so let's leave that. Here we go. Here's an interesting topic of conversation. Darren Young and Nobody against the Ascension. I call him Nobody because he was so unnamed that as he was about to be named, the Ascension comes out. So they called him Darren Young's partner throughout the all.
And a generic local wrestler.
Yeah, generic local man. And unfortunately, I see Darren Young's inclusion here on the show is a way to placate him from getting too pissed off at the Abu Dhabi situation last week, which WWE have successfully just brushed under the rug, which I think is fucking annoying, personally. I thought they should be held accountable for their choices in that whole thing, but they weren't.
No.
I don't think it's enough to placate him for months of not using him. Darren Young's been ready to wrestle for months, guys. Okay, he hasn't just come back from injury. He's been ready for a long time. I don't know if you guys noticed, but the way he looks far better than what he did when he left. Yeah.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
We said before, you brought that excellently done video that he did before coming out, which was not funded by WWE, but it was still brilliant. He looked like $1 million.
Yeah.
Pun intended, a little bit here. He basically gets beaten up here by the Ascension, Titus O'Neil. He's not heel anymore, so he's Titus O'Neil. Comes in for the save, and it leads to a possible prime time players reunion, and the fans could not give much of a shit.
I can't give much of a shit.
And I'm with you. I'm kind of glad you said that. And here are my reasons for not caring that much, even though you and me are fans of the primetime players. We love the primetime players, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
But how are we supposed to get excited or teased for a reunion between these guys? Between a guy who can't win a fucking match in Titus O'Neil, who's constantly used in these segments to belittle his character, a comedic role, and a guy who hasn't been on television wrestling a match for, well, I'd say almost a year, or well over a year at this point.
Yeah, easily.
How are we supposed to think in any stretch of the imagination that Darren Young teaming with Titus O'Neil is a legitimate threat to the Ascension.
Yeah.
That's why I can't get excited for them, right? If they were getting back together and they could build up them winning tons of matches and maybe getting some momentum, then facing the Ascension,
then maybe, but no.
Maybe that would work. But it doesn't work, right?
Why would they do that? That makes sense.
Yeah, that's it. I think they're obviously running out of tag teams. They've just split up a tag team, one of their best tag teams in Stardust and Goldust. They're trying to fill the void. You can't just rush it. You know, you have to have a plan. This is where them not having a plan screws them in the long term, because
definitely.
No one in their right mind is going to look at these guys as legitimate. Yeah, that's the way it is. I thought if you could build him up, he could be a good mid-card solo talent for you and a great ambassador for your company. But they shit over him a bit. That's the problem with it. Moving forward, anyway. Miz and Barrett are backstage. Miz says to Barrett he wants him to knock Miz down a few pegs, and Miz will do a solid by looking out for Ambrose. He says, "I'll get my people to call your people," which was a bit, a bit bad enough.
Pathetic.
Yeah.
It's pointless.
The first time, by the way, that we've seen Barrett really active as IC champion, just because he's got a challenger. It's quite funny, really, but still. Mizdow against Barrett is the next match. By the way, one thing I will say about Barrett, and we do love Barrett here, being from our home country, we love a bit of bad news Barrett.
I even now have a wristband, which is afraid I have some bad news.
Yeah, which is awesome, awesome. I thought Barrett here looks in fucking tremendous shape. I don't know if you noticed this. The guy looks ripped. Fucking hell, I don't know what he's been doing, but when he first came back, he didn't look that good. He looked good, but he didn't look this good. What has he been doing? The guy looks in fucking fantastic shape. I don't know what happened there, but we've got to call it as we see it. It's probably the best shape of his career, I've got to say.
Yeah, quite easily.
Yeah. It's a shame, however, that the way he's being booked, it aren't really up to his physique, but we'll go on to that now. If Sin Cara means whatever WWE wants it to mean, Intercontinental Champion means lose on television. That's essentially what the word Intercontinental Champion means: lose on TV.
TV failure.
Yeah. He didn't lose this week, but I heard from someone that this is his first victory on television since winning the Intercontinental Championship.
Jesus.
Yeah. Isn't that bad, right? I don't know how many losses he's had, but still, that's a bit off to me. Anyway, so this is basically the same thing that happened last week, as Mizdow looks like he's getting some momentum. He looks like he's gonna, go forward and get a good chance. Miz is going, "Oh, come here, clean my shoes, get me a drink," all this other stuff. Good heel stuff from Miz.
All that bullshit.
That's it. Barrett gets the bull hammer, pins him, and just as it looks like it's going to end there, Ambrose comes out, attacks Barrett, ties his hand against the ring post, and then forces him to sign the championship match contract. Now, I'm not from a law firm, but I'm pretty sure that in front of thousands of fans, the millions watching around the globe,
in a blatantly forged document,
Barrett wouldn't really have a hard time in getting that contract rebuked. Wouldn't he, really? But WWE logic, it's whatever Vince McMahon wants it to think, that's the way that WWE logic is. So it means we have the match at Fastlane. And I'll give my predictions on that later as well. The thing that I think is interesting about that is that this match, the IC title match and the US title match, there's going to be a fuck finish in one of them. I don't believe there'll be a fuck finish in both. So I'll talk about that. The third Wyatt promo, he's hammering a nail, doing a little bit of DIY. You've got to find time to do it sometime.
Building it all himself.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, at the end of the day, he's not at home very often, so he has to do all his, building it, when he's at work. Fair enough, got no problem with that.
On the road.
I know. If only he had a hammer. He'd hammer in the morning.
It's true.
Hammer in the evening on Monday Night Raw. Yeah. He talks more cryptic riddles, saying that if he doesn't find him, then Wyatt will find him.
Come looking, yeah.
And I hope they come up with more reasons why Taker and Wyatt will fight, apart from Wyatt finding him and stuff like that, because that didn't work in the Ambrose program. It might work a bit better with Taker, but All I want is Wyatt to come out and state the reason why he wants to fight Taker. He wants to fight Taker because he wants to put him down for good, or because he feels like beating him again will, just come up with some reason that wasn't as crap as I see myself in you, so I want to fight you. That
Which I guess for the Undertaker may actually make sense.
Not enough sense to me, personally.
No.
But there we are. Jimmy Uso and Naomi against Tyson Kidd and Natalya. The women in this match show us that they have some wrestling skill. They have about 30 seconds of back and forth. Some good wrestling, some good roll-ups.
Solid spots as well.
Yeah, some good stuff. And then it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, what are we showing you? This doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Women don't wrestle like this.
Just end it there. So essentially, Naomi pins up Natalya with a roll-up. And the match literally is over. The guys didn't really need to come out at all, really.
So it was one of those like mixed tags that was just like a sort of one-sided and a manager.
Yeah, essentially.
Just like, just let the girls fight it.
Tyson
Kidd is just like, no, not Jey Uso.
Yeah. I mean, I get what they're going for, fair enough, but I mean, it was a little bit of a shame that these girls were doing some really good wrestling and it's just like, 1, 2, 3, done.
Yeah, finished.
Yeah. The thing is here that with Natalya getting beaten up with the roll-up pin, Tyson Kidd is he's not getting that hugely pissed off. He's like, why? How the hell didn't you not win? And I'm with Tyson Kidd here. Yeah, the commentary go, it's wrong for Tyson Kidd to be slamming Natalya. She's so sad. Why are you keeping it on? And the way I'm looking at it is she lost her roll-up that she's kicked out of thousands of times before.
Yeah.
I'd be looking for at least an answer of why you didn't kick out.
And of all the like the women on the roster, it's like she's like the vet.
Yeah.
She's the true veteran. It's just like you can't kick out of a roll-up.
All Tyson did in this is refuse to take the tag. It wasn't as if he distracted Natalya. Natalya lost fair and square. In that sense, I think he's got a right to be like, what the fuck just happened there, personally. But that's just me. There you go. Daniel Bryan and the Big Show in the main event. They didn't have Roman Reigns on commentary. I think that's a good move. He wasn't going to outmatch Bryan's excellent work earlier on in the night. During the match, Reigns is throwing out T-shirts. He's signing some of the signs and taking selfies. Because, that's the way he runs.
That's what social media is nowadays.
That's it. A kerfuffle outside leads to Big Show spearing Reigns.
Word.
Huh?
I love that word.
Yeah, kerfuffle.
Kerfuffle.
That'll be in the I'll try and get that into like the title of this week's episode, just for you, Matt, just for you.
Yay!
So yeah, there's a kerfuffle outside, and Big Show ends up spearing Reigns. Later on, he comes in to return the favour, and he costs Bryan the match via disqualification. This leads to a brawl between the pair. Referees are breaking them out. They do shake hands, but then they keep fighting. The fans are chanting, "Let them fight! Let them fight!" And I'm with them. WWE, I tell you what, WWE got me with this feud. I'm excited for Reigns against Bryan. I really am. I'll tell you if I'm excited for something. If they've got me, fair play. And it shouldn't be a crime for me to be excited for a match.
No, that's it.
I am excited for Reigns against Bryan. I think it's going to be awesome. I think it's got a possibility, guys, to be a humdinger of a match. I really do. I think it could be really good. And, people might argue, it's only going to be a good match because of Bryan. Come on. Accept it. But while I'm excited for the match, I don't think it's still high profile enough to build a pay-per-view around. That's my opinion. But still. All in all, that's the end of the show, by the way.
I sort of I watched it all and sort of listening back to it, was like trying to go over all the segments. It's like, it doesn't feel like a particularly long Raw.
It was like 2 hours, 20 minutes overall in terms of actually watching it.
Oh yeah, rather than just previously, don't forget, before commercial.
Yeah. And
all various parts, last week, this week, next week.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. It was a long one. I think I always watch Raw in 2 bits anyway, so it always seems a little bit less long to me.
Yeah, I think I got it in about 3 parts.
Yeah, so that's it there. But in terms of a go-home show, I think it was almost like they had an event a while ago which they did no build-up to, and then suddenly they had to rush in build. I think it was for Hell in a Cell, actually, for some of their rivalries. The Cena Orton rivalry that they just suddenly got out of nowhere, and it was like, okay, they're gonna wrestle each other. It was just a bit random, but Um, yeah, it's almost like they did the same here. They're trying to catch up on themselves a little bit. I think they did their best, what they could, but overall, the build-up, bar Reigns and Bryan, hasn't been that great to me. And I honestly thought some of the matches that they've got on the Fastlane card, I thought they would be saving for WrestleMania. So I'm a little bit shocked they're actually there, personally. But in terms of this Raw, is there stuff to see on the show? Yeah, it's not. It's a mediocre Raw. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
It's
I wouldn't say it's a particularly great go-home event for a pay-per-view, though.
no. I don't think it did as good of a job as maybe you would expect in terms of trying to get people to get into it, get into the pay-per-view. But I think the pay-per-view itself just reeks of filler. It really does. But in terms of its show being a show, there is stuff to see here. I would say it's worth a watch, but it's not going to blow your mind or anything like that. So
No, exactly.
could be worse though. We've definitely had worse on this show. Definitely. Let's get into our predictions then. We've got a little bit of time left in the show.
Set.
We won't fit in the network review, I'm telling you now. There won't be time. So. So let's get into our predictions. We can wrap up the show. I've actually had a problem all week, and I've been wondering. I said to you there, Matt, yesterday, that my throat might be going. I've managed to, soothe it the last couple of days. I feel it going. So we'll get this done, and I can rest it until Monday when I do another episode. Oh, sorry, we have to do the review next week as well.
That's true.
Of the pay-per-view. Anyway. So if I show up on the next talk more wrestling, and I'm like, so in this match, you know why that's the case, because I've just destroyed my throat, but there we are. Not 50 Shades of Grey stop for anyone says that. I know you're thinking it.
Destroyed your throat,
yeah. Anyway. So, Fastlane predictions. I did this from the listing on the wiki page. I moved the two main events to the end, but that's roughly how I did it.
Okay.
Barrett versus Ambrose, which I do think has a chance of being the opening of the show, for the IC title. Here's what I was saying. This one is, I think both Barrett, Ambrose, and Rusev Cena will find a place on the WrestleMania card. I think Barrett Ambrose could be a pre-show match, but I think it will be on there. So they have to have a fuck finish. But I think their fuck finish is reserved for Rusev versus Cena.
Yeah,
so I think
so completely.
I think this will have a conclusive ending. I will go with Ambrose winning the IC title.
Okay.
Under normal circumstances, I'd say Barrett via DQ. What would you say?
I'll go with Ambrose to win.
Ambrose to win the belt, yeah.
They've been pushing hard enough for it.
They could do two fuck finishes. I just think that the pay-per-view reeks of filler, and if they do two fuck finishes, it's going to be like, really, this is what we got the WWE Network for. I know it's a free month, but we're not paying for this again. It's just bollocks, but
yeah,
still. Yeah, I just think they'll go with Ambrose winning the belt, and then they can, Barrett can maybe become a man and try and chase his belt back or whatever, even though it's quite a face storyline, but I just think the way they've built this up, Ambrose coming in, Ambrose has to win a rivalry at some point. Why not be against Barrett? I mean, Jesus, he's just lost everything, Ambrose. He just loses all the rivalries he's involved in. The IC title will not change that, but still.
No.
Nikki Bella versus Paige for the Divas Championship, sorry. Paige has looked like a badass this month, preparing for the match, so naturally I think she'll lose.
Yeah.
I think she'll probably lose either from, or Nikki Bella will... I say lose. What I mean by lose in a title match, she won't walk out with the belt, Even if she wins by DQ, I still technically class that as a loss, technically, so... she won't win the belt, Paige. I think it'll be either Brie Bella will get involved, or Nikki Bella, might beat her by distraction, or something along those lines. You see something like that happening. What do you What do you think, anyway?
I think they're going to save it. If they're going to have a Divas title change, I reckon they'll save that for Mania.
Yeah. There's also the thing that they might not go for a Divas title match. They might go for a ensemble match like they did last week. Last year, sorry.
Yeah.
That won't be as good, but still, I can see why they want to do it. So you think Nikki Bella?
I think Nikki to retain.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think if they are going to do another match between these two at Mania, then Paige will win there. That's the way I see that. Usos against Tyson Kidd and Cesaro. I go with
Usos.
Usos, yeah, same here. It's too early for Tyson Kidd and Cesaro as a team to get a title match, let alone make them the champions. That's my
Yeah.
opinion.
I don't think they should even have a title. Yeah, exactly. Like you said, I don't think they should even be in the title picture at the moment.
No.
Because it's like, they're like, what, a 4-week-old team?
Yeah. They only just came in just after the Royal Rumble. That was when they started making it. I think. And they, come on, guys, they were associating themselves with Adam Rose. Don't get too excited about all these
Yeah.
guys. So yeah, I see Usos to get the victory. Maybe rival with the Ascension. I would personally like it if maybe they give Usos and a couple of these other teams to do like a multi-tag team match. A little bit like WrestleMania 17, maybe? Ladder match, let these guys go all out. Not a TLC because they want to do that, but have a ladder match and make these guys go all out.
Go crazy.
Yeah, have a bit of a spectacle. Why not? Why not? Just do that. Be great, but I don't know. Goldust versus Stardust. I thought... Yeah, I'm with you. I thought they would leave this for WrestleMania, though. It looks like Goldie's dream of having his WrestleMania match with his brother is over. I don't see them having 2 matches.
No, I don't see a point of it.
No. So I think these guys could possibly steal the show, though. I think these guys could have a really good match. But I did think they were going to leave this for WrestleMania, but it's a shame. But Stardust, completely. And there's no reason why Goldust should win. No reason.
No.
It should be Stardust who gets
There's no purpose. So for Goldust to score the win, like, gains him nothing.
Well, if he wins, it gains him something, but it's not enough. I would state that Goldust winning for the term that he's going to be with the company is not enough for Stardust losing. You know, Stardust winning this match and coming over.
Stardust has more to lose.
Yeah, more to lose than Goldust has to win. Stardust has more to win than Goldust has to lose. So you look at it that way, it's very easy to figure that out.
Yeah.
So, Ziggler, Rowan, Ryback against Seth, Kane, and Big Show. I will probably go with Ziggler, Rowan, and Ryback to win.
Are we gonna Are we gonna match up on everything at this event?
What do you mean? Oh, you're going with that as well, are you?
Yeah.
We still got 2 matches. Who knows? We might go.
No. I think we're differentiating on one. I think.
No, we're all the same.
We're not.
We're all the same so far. No. My reason for this is I think they're going to tease dissension in Authority's ranks, and possibly Randy Orton will cost Rollins the match. It's got to be time that Randy Orton makes his return and gets his match with Rollins at Mania. He's been out for a while.
That's it.
They've got to have him come back at some point. So I think, Fastlane, RKO's Rollins. Ziggler maybe gets the pin.
As the one that ended the Authority and the one who can end. Yeah.
Gotcha, yeah. And, they'll probably tease more dissension between Kane and Big Show, and that's what gives them the opportunity and all that, so fair enough.
That's it.
Rusev against Cena. I have 2 words. Fuck finish.
Rusev retains.
Yeah. I can see Rusev getting DQ'd, making a non-title match at Mania that Cena will win, because they don't really want Cena to be United States Champion. They just want him to feast on Rusev's push. So they're going to have him have a fuck finish here on this show. They wrestle at Mania, maybe in a no DQ match to ensure there's a fair finish. Yeah. And then Cena will beat him there. And it'll probably be for like a non-title or something along those lines. That's the way I see it going.
Yeah.
You're the same as me, are you?
Yeah, fuck. That's got to be it.
Fuck finish. That's the way I see it going. No pin. No legitimate ending to the match. I don't see... Come on, guys. Come on. Rusev ain't pinning Cena. Rusev ain't making Cena tap out.
This match just is.
Yeah. It's got fuck finish written all over it. And that's it at the end of the day. They're elongating this rivalry to get to WrestleMania. That's essentially what they're doing.
Yeah.
So we get to the main event. Roman Reigns against Daniel Bryan.
Where Roman Reigns will go to Mania.
I agree. We're all on the same here.
Fucking hell.
Wow, I think that's a first. I think this would be the match that Bryan makes Roman Reigns look strong in the ultimate sense of the word.
Yeah.
I think this is the night that Daniel Bryan does WWE a solid and makes a star for them. And people might say, well, Reigns might win this match, he might get booed to shit. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about giving Roman Reigns the best match in his career. By far.
That's it. I want you guys to go out and give us gold. Yeah. Daniel, you're responsible.
Yeah. I said it before, I'll say it again. Daniel Bryan has the Bret Hart gene. The Bret Hart gene is he can have great matches with anyone. He can make them look like top tier stars.
Yeah.
I think he's got that in abundance. I think out of anyone in the roster, Daniel Bryan has the Bret Hart gene more than anyone else. And I think that he will make Roman Reigns look phenomenal in this match. Truly. I really do. But, as you said there, Reigns will walk out the victory. He'll go on and face Brock Lesnar, and he will win the WWE Championship. So, yeah, you may be wondering, where does this leave Daniel Bryan? Well, they've already toasted, they've been teasing Sheamus. I know the worst thing is if they have Sheamus come in and cost Daniel Bryan the match. That will make people boo Roman Reigns. This has to be a clean victory. You can't have anything like...
No doubt, no shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. If you have Sheamus come in, people are going to shit on this match. I guarantee you. If they actually book Daniel Bryan against Sheamus, even though people want to cheer for Daniel Bryan, they will shit on that match. Guaranteed. No one wants to see Sheamus against Daniel Bryan. People might want to see Sheamus against Dolph Ziggler. Daniel Bryan against Dolph Ziggler. But they don't want to see Sheamus against Daniel Bryan.
Hell no.
So if that's the route they're thinking of going down, they could make a Royal Rumble style mistake with this. They really could. They could do 2 pay-per-views in a row, making a massive, colossal fuck up if Sheamus comes out and does cost Bryan the match and starts a rivalry with him for Mania.
As exactly that. I mean, it's like, I can completely understand the whole sort of want to turn Sheamus heel, but that would just like not even going on a heel turn. That's just like, we're going to completely dick over Sheamus.
Yeah. And it's like, hype, you're going to wrestle with Daniel Bryan. Even Sheamus must have his finger on the pulse, I'd be shocked if he doesn't, to know that yes, they've had great matches in the past, but people do not want to see Sheamus against Daniel Bryan.
No.
People will shit on that match big time.
The only way, like, he would actually just genuinely have to go to them and just like, if I did this, I'm basically committing suicide on my own career.
Yeah. And it's not so much, he would be such a great heel because people would be booing him. People will be booing the match, not him.
Yeah.
Right? That's far different. They would not want to see Daniel Bryan there. In fact, to the point that they probably wouldn't even give Daniel Bryan that much of a response because it's not a high-profile match. It means nothing. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Right? And you could even argue that Dolph Ziggler against Daniel Bryan is no profile. But, I mean, at least WWE has the point that they can sell this as being the show stealer match. They can't do that with Sheamus against Bryan because I don't think people would buy into it.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's the bottom line of it. So you and me are exactly the same. We can pull for each other here on this. I know every now and then we get one of the other ones right, and I'm sure maybe we'll get something wrong here. We're never infallible on this show, of course. But I do expect that to be the majority of the results, and that means that your WrestleMania card will be Rusev Cena, Reigns against Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, Seth Rollins. The picture is now pretty much painting itself. Whether or not that's a good card or not, me and Matt will decide as the days go on. I'm urging towards no, but we'll see how things go on from that. We don't know until they check. They could swerve us, and Daniel Bryan could win clean, and then he goes on to face fucking Brock Lesnar. When that throws spanner in everyone's works, they'll be like, "What the fuck, Jesus!"
That's true.
Or they could do what a lot of people are rumoring that this could end up in a no contest, and then both of them go and face Lesnar. Which, yeah, fair enough. I'm up for that as well. I think that could be okay.
Yeah.
But still, we'll see. I do firmly believe though that Reigns will win. That's what I'm saying. That's the end of the show, though, guys. My voice is shot. I don't think I've got much left.
Running out.
Is there anything else you want to talk about before we finish up or wrap up?
I've got nothing else to add.
2 hours of audio goodness for our fans there this week. We couldn't even fit everything onto the show that we wanted to. We're going to have to boot back the WWE Network review for next week's episode, so you can be excited for that we're going to do that. I've actually got all my notes written up, and it's quite an interesting review. We'll be talking about some of the good things and bad things of the review as well. And who knows, I may even get around to watching SummerSlam 02, which I know Matt wants to watch. If you did enjoy the podcast, we really appreciate your support by sharing it all over social media and liking it. And if you want to leave us any questions, then like I said, we're still in that stage that we'll answer all the questions that are given to us. So leave them in the comments below. It won't. I promise you guys, it won't be that way forever. We're getting more and more each week. So yeah, for now, make the most of that. If you do want to follow us on Twitter, it is @TalkWrestlePod. And as always, if you are new listeners to this show, don't forget to subscribe. You'll have 2 episodes next week. You'll have a Let's Talk More Wrestling where we feature Fastlane, and we'll have one of the ordinary episode next week. So this is episode 63 I'd like to remind people that in little over 10 episodes, there will be a new intro and backdrop. Oh, fucking hell, that came quick, didn't it? It was only, I feel like only yesterday I just like that backdrop. I think this backdrop is my favourite so far. I think a lot of people would agree, but got ideas for another one. If you got any ideas, then share with me. But I do have ideas for 75.
That's it.
Apart from that, guys, thank you a lot for supporting our show. Do appreciate it. I've been Turbo Tony. We've been here with Matzo Amore. He's a bona fide stud. You just can't teach that.
That's it.
We'll catch you guys next week, and we hope you guys do enjoy the pay-per-view. Talk soon.
We'll catch you soon.